would be a harmonious setup. Also, just in case, already ready to develop the knight maybe towards the f2 square, or maybe he's also ready to activate the bishop later on. Those are all possibilities depending on the situation. The reason why I highlighted the move bishop g3, it might look strange at the moment, because what is Peter talking about? Black can answer it with f4, yes, but imagine the knight already being on d3, then bishop g3 will be a legitimate move, especially because if black wants to fight against e4 and does something similar like what Nepo is doing against Vincent, to playing the stonewall kind of setup, the Dutch setup with d7, d5, then already we might see that this knight d3, bishop g3 idea, fighting for the dark squares, might become very important. So super interesting. What I also would like to highlight, Nodirbek is learning his lesson. He has already been picked twice by Magnus Carlsen last year in Weissenhaus, being knocked out, basically losing his game in the first 10 moves. And this year in Weissenhaus, the same scenario repeated itself. He was rushing, Magnus outplayed him immediately in the first game with the white pieces, got the upper hand and went on to win a fantastic masterpiece that Peter Heinen-Nielsen commentated in for New in Chess magazine. Very interesting analysis. And now he has learned his lesson. He's spending his time, he wants to understand how do I play best, not to fall again into this trap, rushing and getting a bad position.
Yes, it's interesting what you're saying, that how we are learning during from one tournament to another, right? That you have experience that things are working on your way, you're repeating it, and once you burn yourself, you finally learn your lesson and think, okay, I have to make a deeper dive into it before I make my decision. But what I was wondering also while looking the d4 and f3, that generally speaking in freestyle, what is more common, to set your pawn structure the way you want it and then you adjust it accordingly with your pieces, or because where your pieces are, you create a completely different, even a very unusual and unfamiliar pawn structure?
Yeah, well, I think that just to highlight something also, that why players are playing the way they are playing, or Magnus, let's just forget about everything that happened in this game and let me start with a move activating the knight from the corner to g3. So we are talking about developing a piece. However, here black can play the move f7, f5, and all of a sudden that completely stupid on g3. The look on f8 protects the pawn. The knight is restricted, yes, you can follow it up with f4, but one has the feeling that this knight on g3 is not harmonious at all. And that's the reason, I just wanted to highlight that that's the reason why players are first trying to set up their pawn structure so that they will understand where their pieces belong afterwards.
Okay, that's interesting.
yeah, Magnus like, okay, everything wins. What shall I do first? But I think he will first prioritize to put his king away. But h4 just wins on the spot as well. Doesn't matter. Because black will need to give a check and then you hide the king.
Basically, the only way to give away the win is either if you blunder a pawn or you blunder a stalemate.
Or you blunder
Or
your queen,
perpetual.
but then you lose the king. Yeah. It's not recommended, yeah?
h4. Let's see when Nodirbek will say, I had enough. Let's move on, relax, and tomorrow punch back.
Honestly, I think that he already, for a long time, feels like it's enough, but he plays from nerves. And that he knows that he had a chance in this game.
I'm not sure. Look at his body language. He's in the game. He's not just like making moves.
I mean, his body language is in the game, but other than that, he's not in the game anymore.
Well, it's not very promising what's on the board, right? Everybody else finished already their games.
It feels like he did not switch off his engine yet, yeah, but actually it's already gone, yeah. It's he's leaning forward, but yeah. But there is nowhere to push. Okay, king g3. Magnus will play king g3. Basically, I feel like as a player that after king g3 I have had enough. Yeah, because I know that that king hides on h2 and the pawns advance, the queen covers every single check on the board, and it also beautifully and the handshake is there. King g3 was the final move. Nodirbek resigns, Magnus wins. A very important win for Magnus.
So finally, it's over. The first game of the quarterfinals, and this is the